everybody, I'm Chef Cleva and I'm a little curious about lemon squares. So
lemon squares? Like lemon cake?
No, fool, lemon squares. So let's get into it.
I'm curious about your love it, girl. I'm curious. I wanna know what's on your mind. Curiosity never hurt nobody.
So why lemon squares? To be honest, the first time I had a lemon square was at a previous job where I used to bake and decorate. And I wasn't really too fond of them, but then when I tried one, it was like, oh, this is really good. And then you start thinking about it, get all nostalgic about it, and so I decided to think about, well, where did this come from? Because it's not like lemon squares just appeared, even though they do appear at bake sales all over the place. It's like a staple for bake sales. So some people call them lemon squares, some people call them lemon bars. There's no specific reason, but it actually is just because when it's done, you cut them into nice little even squares or bars in order to serve them. There's no real rhyme or reason why they're called lemon squares and lemon bars. It's basically your preference.
Can they be lemon triangles?
They can actually. They can be lemon triangles, but I feel as though people are so familiar with the term lemon square, lemon bar, that if you tell them, hey, do you want to try a lemon triangle, they're not going to associate the new term that you gave them with the term that they're already used to. So it's two parts. You have your crust and you have your lemon curd. So the first part, the ingredients are in front of me, is for the crust. So you have your 1.5 sticks of unsalted butter, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of confectioners sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all these things together in the mixer behind me, and then we're gonna pat it down into a 12 by 12 pan, and we're gonna pop them in the oven for 350 for 35 minutes, or until it's golden brown. A lot of people were kind of curious as to why this, combination, this love match in lemon heaven kind of happened, because your crust is essentially a cookie and our filling is essentially lemon curd. And they've both been around for so long, but it's like they didn't cross paths. It's almost like, how could you two not meet? Don't you know my friend, lemon curd? Don't you know my bud, shortbread crust? Y'all should get together. And that's kind of what happened in 1962 of all times, even though both have been around for years, like years upon years. So the first sighting, I guess, in the wild of lemon square recipe was in 1962 in the Chicago Daily. Now, this crust does not have any baking soda or baking powder, any type of leavening agent. So it's basically gonna be as flat. So when we press it into the pan, you wanna make sure it's nice and even, because the way you press it into the pan is the way it's gonna bake. If you don't have a mixer, you can bring this together by hand, or if you have a hand mixer, that does work as well. It just might take a little bit longer, and you probably have to scrape the glaze a bit more, but it'll still come together. All right. So once it's gotten to this texture, a nice wet sand texture, you can scrape down the sides. You can use your hand, or see, because a lot of the wetness stayed at the bottom, and that's why I keep telling you guys, scrape down clean, because you don't want all of that wet butter and those chunks to be chilling at the bottom while all the dry is up here. You want everything to come together. In my pan here, I have a piece of parchment paper that I cut to fit the pan. We're gonna take this sucker down. Alright, dust this sucker off too. Alright, so we're gonna spray our parchment. Now I put the lining on here because you're kind of gonna cut in here, and I just wanna protect my pan a bit. When you're sticking the parchment, like you just go all over it. You just need to get it to stick. It's not that serious. It ain't that deep.
That's why I keep running out of cooking spray.
Crying. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take our nice little wet sand crust mixture. Okay, and we're gonna plop it in here. And I know it looks super dry. You're gonna be tempted to add more butter and all that good stuff. Trust me, just trust the recipe, leave it alone. Just spread this out. Okay, make sure you get all the corners. And remember what I said, there's no leavening, so you have no baking soda, no baking powder. So you have to make sure that everything is super even, because the way you press this sucker down, that's how it's going to be. Once your crust is in here, nice and packed down, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in our preheated oven at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. You just want this crust to have a nice golden color.
So you want golden crust?
I have the money. I have the money. So while the crust is in there from between 25 to 30 minutes until a nice golden brown color, we're going to get started on the filling. Zest. And I know it's a little bit, but a little bit goes a long way. You can really smell the aroma from the lemon juice and the lemon zest coming together. Alright. Start to pulse real quick, and I'm going to put this stuff away. Yeah, clean up as you go. Once again, you pulse it a little bit, because like I said, you don't want to poof in your face. So when our crust is done cooking in the oven, we're actually gonna put this mix, the filling, directly on the crust, even though it's hot, and then we're gonna pop it back in the oven. So as soon as our crust is finished, we're gonna put these two beauties together so they can come together as one for 40 minutes at 350. Here we go, guys, our lemon squares, we are done. And as you can see, I even did a little lemon triangle.
Dibs!
Okay. Honestly, the taste reminds me of lemon pie from when I was younger. It's so good, and honestly, it's a year-round dessert. Don't limit yourself to a summertime dessert because of the lemon. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that little bell to be notified of the next video. I'm Chef Cleva, and remember, everybody's a little curious. I'm taking this one.
I called dibs.
I don't care.